Hey, my handsome ladies and gentlemen, this is Shmeaty. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new. For my Halloween Cup enjoyers, I did not forget about you, and for my Great League Remix Cup enjoyers that are looking to take a little bit of a vacation from the Bastiodon card being hell that has become the Great League Remix Cup. Side note, this Pokemon should be banned in every iteration of that format. This video is for you. Now we're going to be taking a look at a team today, which is actually unintentionally a play on a much more common team that you'll see in the Halloween Cup Great League Edition, which is Guzzlord Double Bug Steel featuring Shadow Scizor and Fortress. But the star of the show on both teams is going to be that Shadow Scizor, an amazing Pokemon, almost uncontested in the Halloween Cup Great League Edition. If you find enjoyment in today's video, please feel free to leave it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Without keeping you too much longer, let's get into game number 1. Kicking things off with game number 1, and Scizor's going to find a Guzzlord on lead. Guzzlord evidently does not want to stay in that matchup. They're going to safe switch into a Quillfish, and they're going to try to get that turn back by throwing their Aqua Tail immediately, but that's why we switch into our Guzzlord after 4 bullet punches to deny that from happening. And now they threw a resisted move onto the Guzzlord. I fire off 4 Dragon Tails there, and I throw this Dragon Claw on alignment intentionally because they would have otherwise made an Ice Beam that would have KO'd my Guzzlord or forced a shield. So not wanting that to happen, I am going to fire off that Dragon Claw. And speaking of firing off Dragon Claws, this Guzzlord is going to be forced to go down a shield versus mine, as we have a Dragon Claw ready for them. Now, we're going to bring in our Zweilous, and Zweilous is just going to be a massive damage sponge here. A lot of times these Guzzlords are not going to be on Dragon Claw, and this one is evidently not. They fire off the Sludge Bomb, bring in the Clodsire, and now they top left the match, realizing the game is over. GG's to this trainer. And in the next game, it's going to be Shadow Scizor leading into an Azumarill. This isn't the most comfortable matchup ever for either party. However, Scizor is able to threaten with these Trailblazers. The first one will only do about 40% to the Azu, so they can let this one go, but they actually elect to shield it. And now we're going to shield everything right back because Scizor does not want to take any energy from this Azu, despite the fact that it will all be resisted, barring a sneaky Hydro Pump. But we don't want that Azu to end up on the rest of our team, for instance. They're going to safe switch into the Dragalge, and Dragalge is a very interesting pick in this league, but they're going to fire off the Aqua Tail immediately, which is perfect for us. Unfortunately here, I do make a misplay. I should have always just switched in my Guzzlord here to make the same catch. I would have snuck a full Dragon Tail, and not only that, I have a move to hit the Azumarill and actually get it very low. Here, my poor Zweilous is just going to be abused for energy here, as the Azumarill here can just overfarm massively and then fire off a move. I'm in very clean Ice Beam range here. I was probably in Ice Beam range from the moment they came in. They're going to bring in the Fortress in the back, and Fortress, now running Volt Switch, is not going to have the most comfortable matchup into Guzzlord. But what also complicates this matchup is the fact that we're on Dragon Claw as opposed to Brutal Swing. We're going to fire off the Dragon Claw. Unfortunately, a lot of our pressure into this Fortress is going to be from the Dragon Claws. And they're going to fire off another Rock Tomb here, most likely. We're going to be 2 stages debuffed. We're so low. We're running dangerously low on HP here. We're looking to fire off a move on perfect fast move timing. We fire off 5 Dragon Tails, which is 15 turns into their 4th Bull Switch, which is 16 turns. They're going to fire off a move onto the Scizor. Scizor is going to have to shield up here. But given the fact that this is a Rock Tomb, we're okay with firing off this Trailblaze and then getting our boosted Bullet Punch pressure off on this Fortress. It all comes down to this. Are we going to get enough pressure to have this Fortress into range of 1 Dragon Claw? This is very close. If we don't win this game, this is a certifiable we needed Brutal Swing moment, and they are going to make a move on 1 HP. That was a very close game. GG's to this trainer. It's going to be a pretty tough lead in the next game, as it's going to be low kicks up against our Shadow Scizor. Scizor does not want to sit here and take fast move pressure like Sucker Punch in the current season, so we're going to switch out immediately into this Zweilous where the fast move pressure is going to be resisted, and all we have to worry about is a potential X-Scissor. Speaking of, they do send the X-Scissor and bring in Fortress, but now we're actually okay in this matchup. We're going to be able to fire off these Dark Pulses, and Dark Pulses are going to do a significant amount onto that Fortress. And now, if they even reach a move here, Fortress's attack stat is not very high, especially as a non-shadow. We're going to be able to eat this Earthquake for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and now we're going to be able to make a Dark Pulse, no problem, firing off the Dark Pulse just before they're able to get that KO with that last Volt Switch, and if they don't shield this Dark Pulse, they are going to lose Switch advantage, so the Fortress is going to elect to shield to maintain Switch advantage. They are going to be able to reach another move versus the Scizor here, so this may be a little bit of a questionable play for any of the viewers watching, but I don't want to show third and allow them to align their Pokemon properly. And we're going to see that may very well impact how this game plays out, as they are going to bring in the Toxapex, not the low kicks, and this is perfectly fine by us here. We are going to be able to fire off an Ice Slash here. If I get the boost, I can stay in and throw a little bit more energy, but I don't get the boost, so I'm looking to catch that Brine onto the Guzzlord, and the catch is successful. They fire off the Brine as soon as they get it, so we are going to be able to take that resisted energy on the Guzzlord, no problem at all. And now we're going to fire off 5 Dragon Claws, and the Dragon Claw, very nice catch by the opponent, anticipating a Brutal Swing, but they caught the Dragon Claw. We're not on the standard moveset, so low kicks gets farmed down. If they did catch the Brutal Swing, we would have been devastated there, but we didn't throw it, and now Dragon Claw is going to be getting the last shield from the Toxapex, and they are going to be forced to throw their energy to get rid of the Guzzlord here. But even if they were at back-to-back Brines and a Brine KO there, we stored the Trailblaze on the Scizor, and this is going to be game over for the Toxapex. Big damage onto the Toxapex. GG's to this trainer. In the next game, Shadow Scizor is going to lead into yet another Azumarill. This Pokemon is inevitable in this cup. We are going to be able to fire off the Trailblaze, however, before they're able to reach any energy at all. They just reach the Ice Beam as soon as we get the Trailblaze, and so we're going to be able to inflict a solid amount of damage onto the Azu here. They're going to switch out into the Fortress, and this is actually perfectly fine by us. We use the opportunity to get a bunch of energy and switch out into the Zweilous. This is actually me using my thinking brain and realizing that Zweilous has a lot less play into Azumarill than the Guzzlord, because Guzzlord has the super effective Sludge Bomb, whereas Zweilous is just completely walled. That being said, they are going to need 2 Earthquakes to KO here. They're going to fire off Mirror Shot after Mirror Shot, so we're going to be able to fire off a Dark Pulse just before getting KO'd ourselves. And this Dark Pulse will potentiate a KO on the Fortress if they let it go, and they do elect to let it go. Back in comes the Azumarill, getting the 2 bubble farm down, and now they are at 7 here. This is a little bit unfortunate, but regardless of what this is, we're going to shield. And we can most likely just Bullet Punch them into a range where we can Ice Slash them down. And in comes a Morpeko in the back. However, Morpeko in this cup fears one thing, and its name is Guzzlord. Guzzlord comes in. Morpeko is absolutely in shambles here. Everything it can throw in its standard moveset of Psychic Fangs, Aura Wheel Dark, and Aura Wheel Electric are all resisted. However, that first one didn't look exactly resisted to me, so we're going to fire off the Dragon Claw, looking to grab a shield from the Morpeko or get the KO. Here, this is the world's safest shield, so I wouldn't be surprised if I shield it, but I let it go, and it's the Psychic Fangs bait. They were hoping they could make both. Azu comes back in, looking to make a move, and they're able to make a move at the last second. But at this point, we're very okay with how low the Morpeko is and the fact that they don't have the Aura Wheel loaded. We just fire off the Sludge Bomb. They'll need to throw energy to get rid of the Guzzlord, and this game is certifiably over. Back in comes the Morpeko, but Morpeko is not at the back-to-back moves quite yet. So they're going to fire off the Aura Wheel, but back in comes the Scizor with the Night Slash after a single Bullet Punch, and this game is over. GG's to this trainer. Respect the Morpeko pick. In the next game, our Shadow Scizor is going to find a Toxapex on lead. Actually a pretty awkward one, as one Brine will do devastating damage and probably put us in Poison Jab downrange, whereas one Trailblaze will never do enough damage to the very bulky Toxapex. So we are going to switch out into the Guzzlord. Guzzlord able to absorb the Brine, no problem at all. And now we are going to be able to fire off a Dragon Claw on good timing. Once again, they do not attempt to make the catch here, and this is very nice for us. Dragon Claw onto the Toxapex, going to get them quite low, and they're going to fire off another move here. This should always be the Sludge Wave, so I'm going to shield it up. It's actually just the Brine, but that's okay. We're able to shield that up, fire off another Dragon Claw before they're able to make another Brine or Sludge Wave to KO. And we are actually going to be able to pull a shield, and then they bring in the Sableye play, which confuses me quite a bit because this Guzzlord is very healthy for them to attempt a Shadow Claw farm down. They're going to have to commit a move onto the Guzzlord, and Guzzlord just doesn't shield. And now we can just bring in the Zweilous. Our Scizor has infinite energy and is very healthy. And now Zweilous is going to commit to the full farm down and get the full farm down of the Sableye. This trainer no longer wants to play the game. GG's. In the next game, Shadow Scizor leads into a Drifblim. Non-Shadow Drifblim, even still, the Astonished Fast Move Pressure is going to be devastating for us, so we are going to switch out into our Zweilous, only to be met with a cringe Wigglytuff. I thought this Pokemon died when all the Poison types started to come out, but this is the Halloween Cup, has a little bit of play here. So we're going to fire off the Dark Pulse, and this actually puts it in a very nice farm down range where they're only going to be able to make one move versus the Scizor, and we only have to give up one shield for the farm down. Even still, these Charms and Icy Wind combination are going to put us into a range where we're almost at 50% from resisted fast move pressure alone, and now they bring back in the Drifblim, get that Astonish off, but we fired off one Bullet Punch and the Night Slash, which does do 50% still. One more Bullet Punch, switch into the Guzzlord, and now they're going to bring in their third, which is Shadow Grimer. Now Grimer here is able to do a solid amount of work with the Fast Move Pressure and Mud Bomb combination, but we're still okay. We can safely let one move through. They win CMP over the Guzzlord. I did not know that at the time. So they are going to confidently play in the CMP type, but get the KO with the Mud Bomb. Sludge Bomb would have did more, and they had it loaded there, but now Dragon Claw is going to force a shield from the Grimer, and now they're so low, we have to commit to this farm down. If they are at the back-to-back moves here, we may very well lose the game, but we have to play to the win con that we see in front of us. They bring in the Drifblim, and we predicted the switch. The Night Slash is going to KO the Drifblim, which had stored energy, but now in comes the Grimer to get farmed down. GG's to this trainer. In the next game, Shadow Scizor leads into a Shadow Drapion. I'm going to throw 5 and attempt to switch into one of my Dark types in pack, but the opponent says no such luck. I'm not going to let that happen. They're going to fire off the Aqua Tail here, and this is not really that good for me. They're going to look to catch a potential X-Scissor onto their Azumarill here. X-Scissor is 6, so that's why they tried to catch then. Unfortunately, they catch my Night Slash, and I'm just in shambles here. I'm going to be able to reach this Trailblaze, and this Trailblaze will do a significant amount onto the Azu, getting them very low. But now, I have 2 Dragon types aligned onto an Azumarill, and both of them are double weak to Fairy. This is going to be an uphill battle, to say the least. We are going to bring in the Zweilous. They are going to fire off a move here. And my win con here is just hoping they throw an Ice Beam for no reason. And they throw an Ice Beam for no reason. What is this? I'm going to be able to tank that Ice Beam absolutely no problem. Shield up the second Ice Beam. And now Zweilous is going to get this farm down. If they bring back in that Drapion, I don't think they're expecting me to be on Dragon Pulse here. Dragon Pulse camouflaged as a body slam, lands onto the Drapion, the screenshot for the boys, and now in comes the Drifblim, getting a bunch of fast move pressure before switching into the Guzzlord, but I know Guzzlord can tank an Icy Wind. And now, this trainer may have not realized it, but they're playing into their only lose con in this match. They have 2 shields. They need to commit to just fast moving me down, but they're not. They're throwing move after move here, and these Dragon Tails are still doing chunks onto the Drifblim. It's going to be the KO from the Guzzlord first. GG's to this trainer. We've reached the final game of the video, and it's an uncomfortable lead. It's going to be Shadow Scizor into the Toxapex. Now, Toxapex, pretty unfortunate Pokemon for this team to see if its energy goes in the right directions. So to avoid its energy going in the right directions, we switch into the Guzzlord and catch the Brine. This can only be a Brine, so we are very comfortable no shielding, and they are going to stay in, get some more energy on this Toxapex, knowing that it is going to be useful, and then I'm on autopilot as well. I fire off my Dragon Claw on alignment even, and they catch it onto the Azumarill. Not the best situation for me to be a part of. I should have held on to my energy there. They're going to fire off a move here. I'm going to let whatever this move is through. I don't really care if they one-shot me. And it is going to be the Ice Beam, and we hold on. So we're going to be able to fire off the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb is going to do a solid amount of damage onto the Azumarill, and our clock is up. We're switching back into the Scizor aggressively here, and we're going to be able to land this Trailblaze. And I'm going for the undercharge here, looking for a farm down of the Azumarill. Azumarill, not going to let that happen. Switching out into the Toxapex. Toxapex is going to fire off the Brine immediately here. But they only banked the Brine there, so I can overfarm massively here, and I'm boosted. I can Trailblaze and maybe even get another Night Slash before they make a move, because Toxapex's pacing is so horrendous. We're going to be able to actually go for the full farm down here. I was thinking I was going to throw a Night Slash before they made it. I might have underestimated their pacing there just a little bit. Toxapex Slander out the way, in comes a Drifblim. We're boosted with this Night Slash. They really don't want to no-shield this one. They're going to shield it up, but we make another one, and this is going to be devastating damage onto the Drifblim. Are they going to shield up twice? Yes, they are, but we're just going to bring in the Zweilous, and Zweilous, even after these Astonishes, is comfortably outside of Icy Wind range. So they can fire off this Icy Wind, but that's okay. We're going to be able to make this Dark Pulse, ensuring to throw it in the middle of an Astonish, and now down goes this Drifblim, and this Azu has its work cut out for it, as it's going to have to take out all 3 of our remaining Pokemon at about a quarter HP, now dwindling ever so slightly lower, and now Ice Beam KOs the Zweilous, but we have so much left we can do. In comes the Scizor, looking to get some Bullet Punch damage. The BM switch out into the Guzzlord, and we get the farm down with the double resisted Dragon Claw. GG's to this trainer. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to me, and I just gotta say, Shadow Scizor is a menace in this cup. Super fun team to run. It's a little difficult to not steal other people's teams and still find teams that have good success. So I hope you guys do appreciate that. But all that being said, I am officially Stardust broke, and I built a Shadow Scizor, dude. 100% recommend for this cup specifically. Unfortunately, it's going away in a day, but if you guys needed a good investment and haven't built one already, I strongly recommend that you try it out. All that being said, thanks again so much for watching. This has been Shmeaty. Hope to see you guys again next time, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.